Alright, so we are here for the updated Hieratic Dragon profile. So the new update basically brought in one good card that we can add to the deck, and that would be good old Baron the Floor. And that's because we can go into it off of a pretty easy normal summon, being Dragard. When you normal summon it, you can target one normal monster with 1,000 or less attack. And the pretty obvious choice here is your Labra Dragonite, which we're Labrite, whatever. We're playing two of these. He has less than 0 attack. He's a tuner. 4 and 6 makes 10, and boom, Baron the Floor. There's also, so I was trying to buff up the consistency, and funny enough, this actually came into play. I'm gonna get to the Hieratic part soon, but I feel like this part is a pretty good inclusion to add in as well, because this is like the main change. So you're definitely like opening reasoning in this deck is pretty clutch, especially if you're going first. You're gonna want to have reasoning. I'm just trying to find the quickest way to get to Monster Gate. So like, you want Monster Gate because this extends out your plays. You want reasoning because this actually gives you a pretty much a free body on board. Because I mean, honestly, you don't even know what you're going to get. Most opponents aren't going to call right. I think the average deck that would play this might be like Outlich or something. So you're choosing 11 so they don't get a free Outlick, the Golden Lord on board, meaning that your 4, 5, 6, or 10 can get on. And that's assuming you don't play Gamma, which I would actually recommend to play Gamma. Like, doing a little bit more testing, I think Gamma works just fine. You never see him anyway, so what are the odds of drawing him a Monster Gate? And then of course we'll just go into the regular Hieratic plays now. This part hasn't really changed, at least the way that I like to play them. We're mainly going over the core. I'll still play 2 eggs. I don't think you really need 3, and 2 might still be pushing it as well. But these are still pretty fine, especially if you actually end up milling them with your reasoning or Monster Gate and you start to play. Then this in the graveyard gives you one of your Hieratics back on the board for that same turn. So it's actually a lot more alive than what I used to give it credit for. And as you can see, I mean, for the most part, other than the spell cards, the core of the deck is still pretty cheap, which is the beauty of it. And going into the combos, you still want to run Tzolk'in. And this is the part, kind of like the flexibility of the Hieratics, because they're so flexible. I mean, you could play them rank 6, you could play rank 8s. Because the version I had before, you guys had saw, I don't know why I'm typing in rank 8. The version that you saw before included going to like the number 100 dragon or whatever. So just to quickly get these out. So I would have him and this. And if I had the extra space, I'd even include that just as another fodder in case I wanted to also, special this out. Because this card can sometimes just kind of, when you duel, your opponent doesn't have a way to out it, since you can't disrupt a battle. Not the greatest turn 1 play, but I mean, it happens. Otherwise, you want your Hope Bringer. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, your rank 7 Gaia. I feel like I'm blind. There he is. If I'm missing something, oh well. But it's kind of like the good core. Obviously, you want 3 of these because you can just kind of oh, I remember what I'm missing. You want 3 of those because the main reason is you're trying to go into these guys. So you get 2 of these on the board, then you go into him, and then you get to go in the future. Boom, boom. Your preferred inboard is having Utopic Draco and maybe your Hope Heartbringer. But if you end up getting cut kind of short, you have a couple of different ways to go into Ultimate Zolkin, who can then get you out Crystal Wing, or there's a couple ways you can get either Dryguard or Catapult Turtle with this dragon and go into Baron de Fleur. If you really want even more space, like say you're running Gamma, then one cool dragon, of course, to add in is Chaos Ruler. So this gives you a little bit more of an extension play, allowing you to get one of your light monsters added to your hand, light or dark. So technically you can get a Dry Guard off the top as well if you have to use your normal summon. And with you, can't believe I forgot to add it. With you, you know, having so many cards that you're basically just kind of playing out of hand, reasoning your Hieratic Seal, or even if you use if you normal summon Turtle and then activate this effect to tribute itself, typically your opponent's going to want to activate their Ash or a Max C at this point, and then that's where you catch them with Gamma, and then you can get your Ruler on board. When I was playing it in the Synchro Fest, I had a couple of like level 2 tuners, so I would special summon a level 2 tuner after using the Ruler's effect, and then go into Baron de Fleur that way. But in a more normal version of the deck, I think this would be a little bit more optimal. But as you can see, like your extra deck gets kind of tight, so it just really depends on how you want to build it. If you want to kind of drop some of the ranks, you can, but I would say the main purpose is to kind of spam out your 6, because then that thins out your deck a lot. Still, the issue, even with a couple of these additional tech options, you're still typically going second, is if they break your board, you don't really have a way of getting everything back. So it may be in your best interest to run, you know, a pot of Avius. This is still a pretty helpful card because this will get your extra deck monsters back. It'll get your dragons out the graveyard, which for the most part, I mean, you wouldn't need all of them back out, but you can get a couple of them out. Of course, if you're playing for the rank 8s, then you're gonna want to include Galactic Spiral Dragon, just one, so he can make your Red Eyes level 8 and allow you to go into your level 8 plays. But it's not necessary. In fact, if you actually don't run the Galactic Spiral Dragon, you may have some other extender plays with a couple more synchro monsters, because again, you have access to level 1, 2, 6, and 8 tuners. So there's actually level 8 tuner. Of course, I would mess that up. I think there's you have what's this one do? Yeah, Phantasmal Lord, whatever. You could technically go into this because you can just if you're running like other 8s, it's not hard if you have your level 5 on board, and then you have like the level 8 normal dragon monster that's a tuner. Then you copy the level, and then this makes this. And you can bring out all of those tokens. So yeah, you could do this on your turn 1 if you wanted to. I'm sure there's probably some application for it. I haven't thought of it, but it's possible. So this deck has that option. And this is kind of where I went with the deck in terms of this version. you're still going to end up in that weird situation, like I mentioned before, where when you're activating like your monster get your reasoning, you may pull out a hand trap. But if you aren't, say you're not playing Galactic Spiral Dragon, and you remove the whole 8 package, then you could also include a couple of tuners that and maybe like a few more normal monsters, like say a level 5, either like a level 7, like a Red Ice Black Dragon, to where you can, you know, special summon the Ash Blossom and then just go into a Baron de Flora by special summoning the normal level 7 monster. Or you can do, or if you have a normal level 5 monster, that way you can go into Chaos Ruler. You know, you could also include like a Stardust Dragon. If you know, so you have options. There's definitely flexibility here. If you want to kind of plan around that, it's definitely good. I just kind of like this method because it, you know, if you're going second, this deck is like, it breaks the board and kind of, you know, runs over the opponent. If you're going first, and you can kind of set up a good negate game if you really want to with your Utopic Draco Future, and maybe like a Hope Harbinger if you play the one like the Spiral Dragon. But it's kind of your call on it. I'm still really testing out this deck. I'm probably gonna spend a good stream just hardcore playing this deck and really trying to min-max it, because, you know, I spent a lot of energy min-maxing my Dragonities, and I haven't really given the Hieratic Dragons their fair chance. I actually played them a lot more on the little Yugioh game that you can play on the PlayStation. It's like $14 or whatever. I played the Hieratic Dragons a lot more there, and it was because they were so easily splashable. Like, I had a version with them with the Blue Eyes White Dragon, because they special summon any normal monster out of your deck, and oh, Blue Eyes White Dragon is a normal monster. I even did it with Red Eyes. It was pretty cool. And so I want to experiment with that as well on here. Maybe even, you know, well, keep the rank senses, because this is how you special summon pretty hardcore. But you know, find some cool combos and strategies that might actually work out, and see what we can make happen with it. I think there's a lot of different opportunities, especially if one card I'm definitely going to put on my radar for this deck specifically is Samsara Dragon. So it's because when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and then add a level 5 or higher dragon monster from your graveyard, and then tribute summon for it. And so a combo that you do in the other decks, you have your Hieratic Seals, and you get a level 6, and you can normal summon over it, and then the Hieratic Seals special summons another dragon out the deck, and that gives you like a good extension play. So this deck, though, I don't really see an easy way of getting Samsara Dragon to the graveyard on its own, sort of like how my Dragoonity deck can just search it and discard it. So there may be a world where you do both, you play Dragoonity and this, but I feel like the Hieratics would break more than they need to, because they really want to be in the hand and getting tributed, and Dragoonities are just kind of flying out at the board. But this is kind of what I would play for it right now. Let me know what you guys think. It's probably going to get updated again, and I mean, you guys already saw like the Horus variant and everything like that, but if I'm playing it like this, I feel like this is going to get kind of consistent. Break hand if I'm going first or second. Yeah, you can kind of see where the issue is. Like, you need a hand like this. You know, this hand is phenomenal if you're going first, because reasoning off the top, if they try to ash you, you got Gamma, you got your Hieratic Seal, so whoever you get off of your reasoning, in this case will be the level 6, then you can get the other level 6 with this, and then just kind of pop off from there. And if they did decide to you know, ash you or anything like that, you get your chaos ruler, and you know, you have some really cool plays there at that point. And if you're going second, then going second, this deck is, you know, this hand is still fine. You have Gamma to stop their board, and then you have Reasoning, Dark Ruler, or more. So when the hands are good, they're good. When the hands are bad, they're really bad. So that's kind of one of the issues I was having with this deck. Not a lot of methods to make plays unless you have like really specific cards, you know. There's one thing I'm trying to work through. It's just kind of like getting through the bricks of it all, and finding like really good one card combos to just kind of really get things going. But I don't know. I think that's just not the nature of them, which is why their rarity is as low as it is. But other than that, you know, I think that's it for the video. Yeah. Peace.